Hi, Nick Collier here, and this is my shop. Come join me. We'll have some fun. Okay, well, it's time to go ahead and ream out these bushings. I've got this thing set up on the only square I know of on this whole thing, which is this boss down at the bottom here. I've got them up on stands so that when we punch through, we don't hit the mill table. We're going to put away a couple pieces here. And everything's all ready to go, except we don't have it centered. So we'll use the coax indicator. I'm going to move you back a bit. Okay. All right, so we've got our coax indicator in place. And let's go ahead and bring the table over to where we think it's supposed to be, somewhere in this general area. I'm thinking right about there. Okay, we're 300 or 400 thousandths off. Now we're even more, so we'll bring it back. Let's try coming this way a little bit. Nope, the other way a little bit. There we go. A little closer. All right, we can start from there. Just a bit of oil. And, okay, hold it. All right, well, that's closer. That's going to bring us in closer. Oops, further away. All right, we're getting there. All right, we need just a little bit more oil. I'm hearing this thing scraping, freaking out. It's not that much. Maybe it's the indicator itself. Somewhere in that general area. Okay, we're within one. I can live with that. Ah, that's what's making all the squeaky noise. There we go. Much better. All right, let's go to 0 for both. Just so we know where we're at. And the question is, can I ream that? I believe I can. Oops. I'd say we better put the reamer in, hadn't we? Well, shit. All right, we're set for 0, so we can move it out of the way. Bring her back. And there is 0. Let's see what it does. All right, that goes through. Now I'm going to want to bring the table up to it. All right, that's good for the first bearing. And it looks like we're going to have to get this reamer a little longer in order to catch that second bearing. Almost. I mean, this is like almost. How much further can we get it and still hang on to it? There we go. We did it. Okay. So we can undo this. Okay. Get these out of the way somewhat. And we'll drag this reamer back out. Okay, and it's bored in line, so and I don't know if you can see it or not, but I noticed that that the reamer hole is off center by a little bit. I mean, it's totally on center here, so something was just a little askew, but it doesn't really matter unless it wore all the way through here. No, we still got, you know, look at it, still got a good 1/8 of an inch there. That's at least 10 or 15 years worth of wear. And now that I have those grease fittings, probably it's going to even be more wear, because there were no grease fittings before. So put all this stuff away, and we will be back. Here, and I'm going to catch you up on what's happened with this project since we last talked, because there was a whole day there that I didn't have my camera, and we kind of moved ahead anyhow because I wanted to move ahead. I had some other projects coming in, and I'd like to get this thing out before those show up. So here's what we've done. I think I filmed the reaming of the bushings, and we came in and set those up, and then I realized that the hole in the center of the roller wasn't going to be able to go to 5/8 because there's not quite enough room. So we brought everything, I'm sorry, 11/16. So we brought everything down to 5/8 and reamed this out at 5/8. And it kind of goes in like that. And that gives us a nice good solid surface to work from. This part of the body goes into here, and what I realized was that my Zerk fitting, which I set up right there, isn't long enough to go through this boss. So I think the next part of this project is to make an extender for my Zerk fitting. And that could be a bit of a problem because I'm not sure that I have a die that will fit that. But we're going to figure that one out. Otherwise, this can go on there. I think there's a couple of set washers that go in here to keep it from moving back and forth. And this whole thing's ready to go back together. Now there's some problems. There were some original problems with the pulley and the whole belt and everything, so we've got to fix that. And I also wanted to bring this platform up about 2 inches, which I cut a piece of wood that this is going to sit on. What happened was I don't know if you can see over this far, can you? Sure you can. These little adjusters, which adjust the belt directions to keep it centered, sat, like within about 1/4 inch of the grinding disc. And inevitably I'd go in there and try to adjust them and catch my finger on that grinding disc and end up over the years cutting myself. I can't tell you how many times, but let's see, what else have we got? I think that's it. So I think what we're going to do next is see if we can kind of come up with something around making this zerk fitting longer, so we can get it in that hole and have it go through here and have it so that I can squirt some grease into this here. Because as I said earlier, this was always a problem. I could never get oil down into these bearings. And you know, at one point or another, they'd start to dry out and start squealing, and I'd have to, you know, sit there and squirt oil for the next half hour. And I don't want to do that. Okay, so hang in there. All right, I think I found all the necessary ingredients. I was going to use this stainless steel rod, but it's too small. So 1/4 by 28 tap needs to go in to get the zerk to go into that, and then 1/4 by 28 die needs to go so that it can go into the hole. So which means that something has to be bigger than the 1/4 28 tap, and we found this old dead brass bolt which is just about perfect, and I have a whole stash of these, and you know, when I got them I thought, well, I'll never use these, but over the years I've cut little pieces off, or you know, turned them down into something, and that's what we're going to do today. So let's go over to the lathe. All right, so we got our little brass rod. We're going to just kind of clean it up and get it so it can be used. All right, let me get to run the power system in. All right, there's still room, but not a whole lot. So let's figure out how many, what the drill size is for 1/4 28. I'll be right back. That's a little bit of alumina tap. You know, it's for aluminum, but all we're looking for is just a little bit of lubrication. And it seems like it's working out just fine. Okay, that's good enough for that. Now, go put this drill bit away. So I think, you know, I'm realizing that I'm going to have to go in a ways with this in order to get it to begin to set a thread. So I might just run it in like a 1/4 inch or so, and then get a bottom tap and finish it off with the bottom tap. So for now, let's see, which way do we want to go? We want to, let's make this the bolt side. So we're going to take this down to 250 minus minus 10 thousandths to allow for the threads. And we are at 320 now, more like 370. Okay, well, we got a ways to go, either way. We should be at 280. $275. Yep. Okay, 1/4 by 28. We'll open up our chuck. Bring it in where it belongs. Put our die on and kind of walk the chuck in as the die goes in, just to keep everything nice and square. All right, now we can just walk it in on its own, because we've got enough threads to kind of keep it from running off in one direction or another. All right, let's loosen it up a bit. Break the chips, and we can keep going. All right. Back our chuck off. Turn our thing on backwards, and there's our threads. I think I want to square up that, or not square up, but round off that outside edge a little bit. Not round it off, but taper it. That's good. And from there, we cut this off. Do we have a, we do not. Well, we can just use a hacksaw. There, we've hit the hole. There it is. Not bad. Get rid of that part. Put this in here. Clean that up a bit. Okay, now we come in with a number 3 drill bit. And I'm not sure, but it looks like that hole might be off just a little bit. Yes, it is. So, and we want that to get pretty square up. So we're going to just go ahead and continue to rotate it, because this old chuck is off a bit. And if I just continue to rotate it just a little bit each time, eventually we get a nice square hole. That looks pretty good. Let me snug it down a bit. There we go. All right. Run that in. And tap. Now we're going to just run that tap in just a little bit. That's plenty. At least a little bit powered. Now we'll come back and run it in by hand, because now I can feel when it's going to bottom out. Okay, that feels like it's bottomed out. Come backwards. And we might be okay. Looks pretty good. All right, we got ourselves an extender. Let's go back over to the project and see what we've got. All right, let's see what we've got here. We can drop that in like that. And that'll go in there. And this, we're going to have to punch a hole through here, but it'll go through that. So we've got, what we have to do now is figure out where that hole is going to be. Now there's the problem. Well, the problem is that this is going to rotate. When it rotates, if I ever wanted to go up with it like this, which at some points or another I might, but in 25 years I probably stood it up like that and maybe twice, so probably I'm going to be just down below. What could I do? I could actually put a slot in this whole thing. Well, I'm going to have to think about that. And we'll be back. All right, so here's where we went. We've got this in, we've got our zirc hole right there. Okay, so now we're putting it back into the slot, or to the boss, or whatever you might call that. And it ends up coming out right about there and here. So that's our crosshair right there to drill. We'll drill a hole that will accommodate this brass piece. Now we could, I don't know. Let's just see if we can get this to mount up. Yeah, the brass piece is going to come all the way through. We may not even need the brass piece now that I'm looking at it. No, see, it's just a little bit too small. Okay, no problem. So our center hole is there. Now the question was, is the center far enough away from this casting that we can get a hole in there? And so I took some measurements. Where's my little measuring device? Here it is. And we just kind of came in here and measured our wall, and we're assuming the top wall is about the same, and it feels like it is. And then we come in from here, and let me get a straight edge. And you know, this is a casting, so you're not going to get anything super accurate, but at least you're going to get something close. So we'll bring that up to there, and we're going to bring this to there. So that's going to be right about there, which would swing around. And I'm telling you, it looks to me like there's just enough room. I mean, just enough. So we're going to drill a hole right through that and see what we can come up with. Yep, I mean just enough room. So let's go to this size drill bit and see what we can come up with. All right. And needs a little bit more room. Go up a couple sizes. So we've hit that inside wall just a little bit. I might be able to just take a file and go in there and clean it up. But we got a little bit of room there. Let's get this thing back in place. And our hole is pretty well lined right up. This could go right in. What I'm seeing is the hole needs to go that way just a little bit. So that's actually a good thing. We'll get a rat tail file for that. All right. Just about there. I'm seeing it needs to file the top edge a little bit too. I'm not sure this thing didn't rotate down on me. There we go. Just a little high now. There it goes. Okay. So as you can see, it still needs a little bit more room over here. Either that, or maybe when I tighten this up, it'll pull it into the center. No, it doesn't. It's supposed to come back over a little bit more. But for the moment, I think that's going to be pretty good. Okay, and then we'll just, instead of the long zerk fitting, we'll put a small one in there. And that'll give us the zerk fitting for here and here.